guys, welcome back to my channel. So I did say that in the next video I was going to talk about my sexual harassment story and everything like that. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit before like the day it actually happened and everything like that so you get a little background. So this day happened January 30th. So January 21st is basically where the story begins. January 21st, we have my first winter formal. You know, I'm a freshman and things like that. The boy I like, he's going and stuff like that, and so I'm just like nervous. I'm trying to make sure I look really good and stuff like that. So I go and everything, and I'm like dancing. My friends, we're just all having fun. And then at one point I told one of my friends, I'm like, okay, when I'm not looking, go over to the boy. The boy's name is Nathan. I'm like, go over to Nathan and tell him I want to talk. But don't tell me you tell him, because then I'm a chicken out and then I won't do it. So I'm like right there dancing, and from the corner of my eye I see my friend Jeremy going to Nathan to tell him, and I was like, oh shoot, what did I do? What did I do? And so Nathan gets up and he walks over to me and he's like, oh, can we talk? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So we go sit down to go talk and everything like that, and then it's just awkward, you know, we're just sitting there and I'm just like, oh, I don't know what to say. And then he just tells me, he's like, you know, I have a crush on you, and so I was wondering if you want to be my girlfriend. And I was like, yes, like, yeah, I told him. And he was like, okay, and I told him, I was like, do you want to go dance? And so we started dancing. And I kid you not, okay, when we were dancing, it felt like it was just only me and him there, you know, it felt like no one was around us. Like, it felt like we were literally dancing in the stars. And I felt like, and the idea of me feeling like this was so great, because like I had gotten hurt so many times by boys before and stuff like that, and like I wasn't really hopeful for me finding that and everything like that. But when I felt that with him, I was like, oh my god, I'm like so happy and this and that. But you know, it was nice to just experience that, even if it was just for a little while. And so anyways, you know, that happens and everything like that. And like I used to get bullied a lot, okay, like so much. So just to know like someone like him was there and everything like that, I felt so much better and things like that. So that day happened and everything like that. My mom, she knew about him and stuff like that, and she was supposed to meet him pretty soon. But the following weekend is my dad's turn to have me and stuff like that. So I went over to his house for the weekend, and Sunday, you know, Sunday is when my life kind of just, it felt like this was the last time I was able to have like a real life for a long time. Sunday, the normal things happen. I wake up early in the morning because we always have my dad's friends over because we have a cow and stuff. So I wake up like maybe 6, 7 in the morning. We go feed the cows, we feed the horses and stuff like that, and then we start getting milk and stuff like that from the cows, and friends and family just come over and we hang out for a little bit. Well, one of my dad's friends, was his birthday. So they're like, okay, we're going to go up to the mountains. And, you know, I didn't have anything warm to wear. So I was just like, dang. So I was freezing most of the time, but I was just like, I had fun, you know. I ended up falling and I cut myself on my hand, and I wanted to cry. So we had to leave early because of it. We got to my dad's friend's house because, like, since it's his birthday, we go over his house and hang out and stuff like that. They have cake and everything like that. And it's like already 6 in the night. Yeah, like 6 at night. And my mom, she's calling and she's asking like, when are we coming home and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't know, let me ask. And my dad tells me, he's like, oh, soon, 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 you know, like he always does. And so after a while, like, he just ended up telling us, oh no, I'm too drunk, I can't drive you guys home, I'll drive you guys early in the morning so that way you don't miss school. And I told my mom, and she was mad about it, but she was like, okay, whatever, you know. So Monday comes around, it's early in the morning, okay, I wake up like around 5, I get dressed and everything because I want to be ready to leave and everything like that, but no one's awake. So I'm just like, what am I supposed to do if nobody's awake? So I'm just like sitting there doing nothing, you know. I'm on Snapchat and stuff like that. I'm looking through my phone. And then it's like 6 in the morning already, and I hear my stepmom wake up. And she tells me, she's like, oh, you need to go in the room with your dad and tell him when is he going to take you guys and stuff like that. And so I go in the room, and like I'm sitting on like bed with him and stuff like that, and he tells me, oh, when Mate, which is my stepmom's name, when she gets back home and everything like that, she'll drop you guys off. And my stepmom, I could tell she was a little frustrated about it, but I mean, I understand, like she had things to do and stuff like that, and so now she has to kind of like move her schedule around for us, and I didn't really mind, but so I was just like, okay, whatever. So my stepmom leaves like the house around 6:30ish, maybe a little bit later. She leaves my siblings and my half sister. They're all in the other room. They're all playing and stuff like that. So it's just me and my dad alone in the room. This is not this was a normal thing for me and my dad to do. Like I always was in the room with him, whether it be him in bed and stuff like that. It was just normal. So I'm right there laying in bed with him, and he sees that I'm cold, so he tells me to get under the covers. So I get under the covers, and then at that point he's like playing around with me. He like hits me a little bit, and he's like, oh, you're my flaquita and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, like, he's putting his hand in my stomach, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, like, I don't really care. But then I feel his hand go under my shirt, and then his hand is all of a sudden on my chest, and his hand is under my bra. And I'm like, I'm scared. I don't say anything. I'm just stuck there. And so he looks at me, and then he tells me, oh, does that tickle? And I just turn around, like, I don't know what else to do. Like, you don't know what to do in a situation like this. So I just turn around, and I'm just pretending to close my eyes, and I act like I'm not there anymore. And then he turns the same direction as me, and I feel himself rubbing himself up against me, rubbing his part up against me. And I'm just like, okay, I try to find an excuse to leave. I try to find an excuse, and I hear my little sister crying. I go over there, I check up on her, and then all I hear is my dad calling me back, and I'm like, I can't let my siblings know what's going on. I can't let them know that I'm being forced to go back there to let this happen to me over and over again. So I go back over and over again. It happened about 3 times when I kept trying to leave, and he wouldn't let me leave. And so, like, after a while, like, it's like 7-ish, like maybe mid-7 in the morning, and my stepmom gets home. Like, I hear her going in through the door and stuff like that, and I just jump and I sit down on the stairs and stuff like that. My stepmom, she comes in, and then she brings up the whole topic of me having my quince, and she's like, oh, so what are we gonna do about damas and chambelanes and stuff like that? And my dad, he's right there having a conversation with her and me, like nothing happened, like he did nothing at all. And this is a reason why I didn't have a quince, because like I was like, kind of connects to a bad memory and stuff like that. So I was kind of deprived of that, like my childhood was kind of deprived the moment that happened to me. But I didn't say anything. I went to school that day. I didn't say anything at all. I had my hoodie on, like, my boyfriend, we have a class together and stuff like that, so he sits, like, right there next to me, so he knew something was up, but, like, I just didn't say anything. I didn't talk to anybody. I just kept my head down, and it sucked, because, so that day, he was the first person at school I had actually seen, the first person I actually looked right into their eyes. And this affected our relationship, like, a lot, and I'll talk about it into the storyline and everything like that. But I just want to say that I'm not a victim. I'm not. I will say I am a survivor, because I don't want to ever be looked at a victim. I will only want to be seen as a survivor in this case. Because if I was a victim, I'd be crying still. I'd be still wondering all these questions that I used to wonder and stuff like that. And it's a hard thing, especially since it's like someone you trust, someone, especially with me, like I defended him more than anybody in the whole entire world. Like I kept going back to him, going back, knowing how horrible of a person he was to me and my siblings and stuff like that. But I kept going back. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have the courage to tell anybody about what had happened to me. Like it took me like about about 2 months before I told somebody anything. Well, a month later, I told my best friend Faith about it, and she's the one who had been keep trying to convince me to go tell somebody about it. And the way she convinced me is because she knew I wasn't going back to my dad's side anymore, and so she told me, "You're not going back, but one of your other sisters are going back, and what do you think is gonna happen?" And I was just like, you know what, you're right, you know, I'm not going there anymore. So is he just gonna move on to the next? So I finally decided to go tell, and you know, I kind of was losing hope because like I kept going back and telling him, I'm like, I need to have a conversation with the school therapist. I need to talk to her. And they're like, oh, we'll set up an appointment. And I never got my appointment. And so one day I just told them, I was like, I'm not leaving until she talks to me. So I get in there and I tell her everything that happens. And I can't do it without my friend Faith. So she's right there in the room with us. And, you know, that's kind of like the beginning of all of this. And so that's where I'm going to kind of leave it off now before I talk more into it. But I just want to say that, like, anybody who does experience things like this, anybody who feels like they can't talk or anything like that, trust me, you can talk. You got to think about the bigger picture because, you know, for a long time, I didn't see the bigger picture, and I just kept telling myself, you can't go back, and you just won't go back, and everything will be fine. You know, he's still your dad. He didn't mean to do it. And, like, for a while, I was blaming myself. You know, I body shamed myself, and I closed myself off, and I almost hurt myself. You know, not even almost, I did hurt myself. Like, I was such in a dark place that I hurt myself because I blamed myself, you know. And it's a horrible thing to anybody to have even experienced this and everything like that. But, you know, when you grow and when you meet people along the way and when you look out for help and everything like that, there is a brighter light at the end of the tunnel, you know. It's not just all darkness anymore. There's a light at the end of that tunnel, and, you know, you get through it, you move past it, and you become stronger than what you had been before. And I'm telling this story because, like, I want somebody to hear it out there, you know, not only my friends who have heard it and everything like that, but I want this to be a story that people can actually learn from, and people can actually see that you're not alone no matter how much you think you are, because in this whole entire world of over billions of people, you're not alone, because there is someone out there who does love you. You just gotta look and look and look until you don't stop looking. In my case, like, I was so happy to have my little sister Grace, because she honestly is like what kept me pushing, like, for so long, because you know, she was our miracle baby. She's our miracle baby, and I always wanted to make her proud, so I just kept pushing. And, you know, when I walked the stage, I didn't even care if any of my family was there. I just wanted her to be there, because I'm walking that stage not for myself, but for her, so she can see what you can accomplish and things like that. So part 2, I don't know when it's going to come out. It's probably going to come out soon since we're in quarantine and everything like that. But stay tuned, honestly. If you have questions or anything like that, as you guys can see, my Instagram is on my introduction and everything like that. So you can hit up one of those in one of my Instagrams and message me on it and ask any questions that you want. I'll even put it in the description and everything like that, so that way you guys can see it there. But questions, concerns, anything like that, you guys can go ahead and leave it there. Next video, I'm gonna go into more into me starting my sessions and things like that, going into therapy, and how at this point in my life, like, I am ready to just end it all. So I'm not going to talk more about it, but that's going to be in the next video. And thanks guys for watching. You know, like, share it with your friends, share it with anybody, put it on your Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. Just put this out there so people who either you can tell that are going through the same thing I've been going through, so that way they can know that they have someone out there who knows exactly what they're feeling. But that's the end of today's video. Thanks guys. Bye.